Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is fransica brackin. For those who are new here, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry that I'm not giddy as you know how I normally be, but I got a message, right? I got a message, and it's something like when the Lord give you new revelations, like he opened up your eyes to new things that you didn't understand, right? And remember, I tell you guys, like, I watch plenty movies and stuff. But the Lord is such a strategic God. He's such a strategic God. He's a God of strategy. God, he's a God of strategy, right? He's a strategic God, right? And the Lord gave me this message through. He helped me to understand something that he was showing me, and he showed me through a movie that I was watching, right? And the movie was explaining the god Moloch, right? This was a god back then that they used to sacrifice. I'm sorry guys, but this, if you guys see I'm crying in this video, is because of what I'm saying, right? I'm very passionate about this subject in particular, right? Is the god Moloch, and they say it's in Deuteronomy, and I think it's Leviticus, right? And this god is the god of the tribe Manasseh, and Manasseh, it have Ephraim, it have Benjamin, which is Benjamin get the name of something from south or something like that, that. And this one here was Manasseh, right? And this god here, Moloch, was a god that used to, I now understood it, in this movie that I was watching. I now understood when the Lord mentioned Manasseh, and Manasseh was one of the kings that used to practice this worship of this god by sacrificing their children, their newborn children, or whatever, their children, to this god by running their children through the fire. And they would do this when they want success and wealth and all of these different things. And the Lord opened up my eyes to this, and he said, watch out this. He said the reason why, and who don't know the story of Manasseh, go and look up Manasseh. Manasseh used to do all of these evil practice, and he said because he didn't know Jehovah God to be God. And he said the Lord caused him to be taken away captive to Babylon and to go in prison, for him to now beseech the invisible God, because, oh God, the Lord take away the gods that he would see with his eyes. Some of you all worship individuals that you see with your eyes, that is leading you into practice that is not pleasing in the eyesight of the Almighty God. When I say, when you worship gods that you see with your eyes, I'm gonna break this down for you. Anything, person, maybe person, thing, or whatever it is, object that you worship, what I mean worship is not just something, okay, you sing or whatever. Worship is when you take commandment from something. That is when you show true worship, when you take commandment from something. The devil wanted Jesus Christ was to worship him, was to listen to him, was to fall down to him, was to worship him, was to bow to him. If you notice, when you go into a kingdom, I'm explaining these things real simple to you all. If you notice, when you go into a kingdom and you bow your head, is a sign of respect and of obedience to what they say. I'm going to obey it. I respect you and respect that I obey you or whatever it is. So that I will follow your commandments. So when you see you worship someone, when you worship them, that means you follow commandments from them. You understand? You respect them to the point where you follow commandments. Is a sign of worship. This is why Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the Lord was preferred to go through the fire than to worship Nebuchadnezzar. Worship is a different kind of thing. When you say you worship somewhere, I adore you more than how I adore myself. I worship you above all. I follow you above all. And the Lord said, none, you shall worship none but him. But there's some of us here. There's some of us that still worship. So I'm gonna get this back to the God thing now. So a God, when they say false God, is anything that you worship, right? It could be an object or wherever it is. And Manasseh worshipped this image of this this I think it looked like a cattle head. It was the god Moloch, right? And that god Moloch, praise your mighty name. That god Moloch, they used to sacrifice their children in order to get wealth and all of these things. And the Lord began to tell me, he said, Francine, all of these practice, he said, remember there's a part in the Bible that said there isn't anything new under the sun. Everything that is happening now have happened before and shall happen. So the Lord know it. It is a cycle. It goes around and it comes back around. Everything that happened, I believe this is in Ecclesiastes. So the Lord began to tell me, he said, all of those things that happened back then, it is not that brutal, but it's covered up nowadays because we have gotten society have gotten more knowledge on these things. They don't openly do these things, but you say and then the name for it is not so. If you say, okay, you go and sacrifice your child, when you say you go and get abortion, the people wouldn't, they wouldn't want to do it. They wouldn't want to do it, excuse me. But so they don't give that name sacrifice, but he say it's the same thing that is happening. And I'm going to give you the understanding why it's the same thing that is happening. So Manasseh, when Manasseh went into prison, he couldn't see all of the gods, the things that he worshipped. So he got in connection back with the real God, right? And the Lord began to tell me this. And he said some of the stuff that is happening currently. He said individuals are sacrificing their children, their unborn child or their child that is now born to the god Moloch, They are sacrificing they are giving up their children. This is when abortion and they're giving up their children because if you ever hear someone say, if I bring this thing, let me tell you something. You see the spirit of fear? The spirit of fear is what the enemy used to control us to do so much things. And many people get led by the spirit of fear. Listen to me. No one knows the future of a child that is coming out of your womb. No one knows the future of that child that is going to come out of your womb. Only person that knows it is the one that formed you. So no one can foretell you, okay, if you have this child, this is one going to happen, and you see this and you're going to be in problems and all these kind of things, and you wouldn't have this. No one knows the future of that child. No one knows the future of that thing. You understand? And the Lord began to tell me, he said, many people act and sacrifice and do all these things out of fear of the unknown, of the future that may not know. The enemy preys on you in this area when you've got something in your womb and the situation that you may be currently facing does not look like, if you know what, it does not look like it is ready for a baby or wherever it is. But the one that formed you in your womb, that formed you, he knows that you will have problems with this thing. But many people give it up because why? Just like Manasseh, back then the practice of sacrificing children was always about, it come about as abortion now. They give it up. Why? Because financially I'm not ready for this or wherever it is. And if I keep this thing or wherever it is, and they said things sometime, if I keep this child, it will, suck all my finances. I will not be able to do that. So many people is giving it up in exchange. Is giving up what God has placed in your stomach in order to gain wealth. He said the practice is still there. The practice is still there, but it's differently. And he said this thing come about. The reason why people choose to sacrifice their children and run their children to the fire and give up their children, maybe abortion or otherwise, is because of this reason. They are still sacrificing to the god Moloch for wealth and all these kind of things based on fears. They are sacrificing and giving up their children. So he began to tell me that. He said, this is what is happening currently with people. This is what is happening currently with people. And he says some of us, he said, oh, listen, I'm not coming on here and bashing people, if it is that you have abortion. But he said, let individuals know that God is real in this area. Because I said it already, but let them know that God is real in this area. What do I mean that God is real in this area? Manasseh was worshipping, he was doing this because he did not know God. He did not know the one that supplied all of our needs according to his riches and glory. I mean, if he give you children, he gonna supply your needs according to his riches and glory. But he said many people in time past, this is why this message is so powerful for me, because many people, the Lord tell me the urgency of this message, because many people, baby sit down, many people, excuse me, let's gather help with this, my son. Many people don't seem to understand this. This is why it's urgent in this time, because many people don't know Jehovah God, and this is why they are running through. They are running to this doctor and doctor, wherever it is, and they are taking advice from these people. Sometimes you worship someone else's advice over what God says is the right thing to do, over what He says is the right thing to do. He put this baby in your woman. You know it's the right thing to do, but you're worshiping some other God that you can see and touch, and this is why some people go and they take advice, wrong advice, to destroy themselves. The Lord said, if I put it there, take no thought of what you shall eat, drink, or wear. Who does not know God? He's a provider, He's a supplier. I have personally seen Him supply all of my needs. When I got this little one here, I didn't even know certain things, what he would do or wherever it is, and what his future will be like. But I can tell you this, the Lord supplied all of my needs some way, somehow, and He has grown. He said, if I put life inside of you, then I'm in charge of what lives and what dies. He said, take no thought of what you shall eat, drink, or wear. That if you feed the sparrows of the air and the toil or the sow not, but yet still your Father feed them. And if he clothe the lilies of the field, and Solomon in all of his race could not be compared to one of them, how much more would He not feed you? How much more would He not clothe you? How much more would He not supply you? Don't you know that your Father counts every hair that is counted upon your head? Every hair that is upon your head, He counts it. He sees everything that you go through. If you God is say, oh, it was a mistake, and there's nothing that is a mistake. You were not a mistake. He said that many people do this, and they do. I'm not bashing anyone that do this. But what I'm saying, many people do this, and it's because they don't really know God the way how some of us know God. So to the ones, I'm telling you, from the ones that really know Jehovah God in these areas, I can tell you, if you go to Him, you have this situation, and you go to Him concerning this, He's going to do it. He's going to provide for this. Do not let the spirit of fear or any God, any person that you worship opinion more than how you worship God's opinion, make you run your children through the fire, make you sacrifice your children for maybe wealth and riches. Because if I take care of this child here, if I take care of this child and go get this or wherever it's not, I have to stop doing that. You don't, and the Lord might bless you with even more, because you choose to honor His commandments and His statutes, to do the right thing. Look at Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. When they went into that situation, they say, I'm not going to worship Nebuchadnezzar, because the Lord said, don't put any other God above him. And they thought, God put in that situation, and they thought they would die. And the Lord turn that situation around. The Lord will give you a testimony through what you are going through, because you choose not to listen to anyone, but listen to the voice of the Almighty God. He will turn it around. He choose not, and everybody else will say, oh, they stupid or wherever, they go and die or wherever it is, just bow down their head or wherever it is. Everyone was against them. Nebuchadnezzar was against them, and they choose to walk into the fire other than worshipping other gods. And the Lord, oh God, do you not know that the Lord will stand up in the midst of this difficult situation, and provide for you and supply for you and make sure everything is okay, because you choose to do the right thing? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was in a tough and a difficult situation. They was in a fiery furnace, hot fiery furnace, because they choose to do the right thing, and the Lord brought them through it. The Lord brought them through it. And He said, just like you, if you choose to do the right thing and you choose to follow His commandments, He said, I'm going to stand up in your difficult situation when you have this, when you're going through it and you don't know how you're going to get this. He said, remember that I'm the one that supplies. You all just, let me just stop this video right here, right? But the Lord He brought that to me, and He told me to release it. He said some people, you don't knock them because they didn't know. They may have made mistakes in the past because they didn't know God, and they do certain things that is wrong. You understand? And they break commandments because they don't know the Lord. The Lord shall overlook and forgive those things because it was lack of wisdom. Because it was lack of knowing him. Just like Nebuchadnezzar did not know him. Excuse me. And because he did not know him, this is why stuff was happening. This is why he began to do this practice. So don't knock anyone that made these mistakes. But if you have knowledge of who God is, remember that he's a supplier of all of your needs. Do not break commandments. Don't listen to any other voice but the Almighty God's voice. And do the right thing. Right? You guys, anyway, I'm going to stop there because my baby he's just, when you're driving this little truck or whatever it is, when you're playing, yeah, all I know is just him. He's playing in the background. So you guys, stay blessed. And look at that. He's saying bye-bye. Stay blessed, stay strong, and remember, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, loves you, loves you, loves you, loves you, loves you. And I love you. And do not do anything foolish. Okay, don't do anything out of fear. Give yourself some time and pray about it. And it was that to hear his voice, and or sometimes he used individuals like us. He could be confirming or speaking to you through this message, right? Don't give it up for wealth. Bye.